Well, after a very long, frustrating day yesterday, I got the GM Vortec into the Land Rover. Now, good news, maybe not so good news. Well, let's start with the not so good news. I've got a lot of fabrication to do. Not a big issue, but well, something that I didn't really expect. I'll show you that when I take the camera off the stand. The good thing was the adapter worked well, and when I put the engine mounts on, the gearbox mounts dropped straight in, so I've got the length, if you see what I mean. I know how far this should come forward, and the gear stick worked perfectly. Again, I'll show you that in a moment. Bad side, should I say. Because we have to put the engine over towards the left, the exhaust manifold on the left is just over the top of the chassis. It's just like half an inch. Most frustrating. So what it means is that I'm going to have to either make a manifold, which isn't too difficult to do, or try and find I've been looking on the internet this morning to see if I can find a different variant of vehicle, so I can put I'd like the manifold to come down instead of an angle if it comes down like that, but I don't know if one exists. Probably does, because they fitted this engine to all sorts of things. The height's good. The sump misses the axle perfectly. I wasn't happy with my engine mounts, I must admit. It was getting late, it was getting frustrating, so I just tacked it in because I had the car half in and half out the garage because I was lifting the engine in and out with the forklift. Not good. So I'm having a day off from it today, because if you continue with projects, you know, you keep banging away, you forget things, and you really have to look at projects with a different pair of eyes, maybe 2-3 days later or a week later, and come back to it, and you see different possibilities. Believe me, you do, because when you're banging away doing this, you think, oh god, this isn't working, this isn't, oh, it's terrible. But this does need a lot of fabrication, I must admit. So is it going to be a project to do doing a Land Rover? I don't think so, not unless you're good at fabricating. I mean, I can make the adapter, I can get that machined off CNC, that's no problem at all, but there's a lot of bits and pieces in there that's not quite as easy as you think. So let's have a quick look round and I'll show you how far I got. I actually filmed the whole process of taking the 300 TDI out and putting this GM in. However, I was tired last night, I was really exhausted last night, and I was trying to put a video together and instead of pressing render I pressed delete and deleted about an hour's work, so I thought, oh, bugger that. So if you want to see it, I'll upload it, but I won't edit it, I'll just jam it all together. But believe me, it is about maybe 3/4 of an hour long. I know some people like long videos, but anyway, it worked. So what's the good thing? Well, the engine's in the right place. How do we know it's in the right place? This was a little bracket here put on for the well, the holes in the front there were a little bracket when you had a PTO shaft coming out for the front bumper, you know, the capstan type winches. So that was good. So by scribing a line up here and across to the centre bolt, we got it aligned up properly, and it's, I think it's 30, I can't remember now, I had so many measurements, 35 or 35.5 centimetres from the inside of the chassis leg to the bolt, which is exactly the same as the Isuzu, and that's given no troubles at all. So I'm pleased about that. What I wasn't pleased about was the motor mounts. I've seen a better idea that I'd like to do. But I've got to take this engine out because I have to do the clutch, because I didn't know if it was going to fit. But down here, you can probably see my problem. This manifold here is just a little bit too over this side. You know, with the vibration of the engine, I don't think I can get a pipe in there. I might have a look with a clean pair of eyes later on, but I've had enough of it. I had a lot of problems slinging this engine. I managed to find 2 bolts at the back, and I slung it up, but it was a bugger to fit. And then when I was taking this front cover off, lo and behold, there's an engine lifting eye, but there isn't one on the other corner. So anyway, I think I might just fabricate one up so it's going to be easier. As you can see, there's a lot of space in here, so I'm going to put the air cleaner back here and make a pipe come round to here, so I can put the mass airflow sensor in, and that air cleaner box should fit nice. Make a bracket to come off here. I think that'll be okay. Clears nice. Radiator, Disco 2, I can get that to fit. It's going to be tight. This car, if you see down here, this engine's got a remote oil cooler on it and filter. Now, I'm not sure whether I'm going to fit that on or not. I mean, what's it going to do, this vehicle? It's not going to be towing all the time. I'll tell you what I might do. I've noticed at the bottom where this goes on, there's like an adapter for all these pipes. I might just unbolt that and see if it exists, just an adapter to put the screw-on filter. I wouldn't be surprised. And then we can run it without an oil cooler, because the cooling system on this is quite good. You know, there's big hoses everywhere, and the radiator, well, there's the radiator for the Disco 2, which is quite big. Don't know. I mean, if it does get hot, I'll keep my eye on it. If it does get hot, and I'll put the oil cooler on. Simple as that. This side's good. The exhaust's going to be nice. We don't need the clutch hose here because the clutch is in the bell housing at that side. Pipes, well, they're sort of getting there. They want extending and bending round. Least of my worries. What else? Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, the bonnet close is nice. There's about, well, like I say, I mean, I can put my hand in there, so when the bonnet's closed, so that's good. It's just that exhaust manifold, and like I say, what I don't like about it is it's very tight down here. There's the spark plugs, look. Well, they're not too bad. It is missing all the pipe work and things like that, but I'd have to put a shield around here. Now, one of the things you've always got to be wary of when you're doing conversions is you've got to work out if you need to work on this engine in the future, like taking spark plugs out and things like that. Not sure. We'll have to see about that. But a little heat shield will protect that universal joint, and we don't want anything getting too hot and dry. The power steering pump and the air conditioner that used to fit down here, well, I had to drop that out of the way because it was a pain, because of the steering box. If it was a right-hand drive, it'd be a dream. You know, everything would work well. But it won't work in a left-hand drive. Never mind. Yeah, I'll get the power steering working. I've just got to pick up off these belts and pulleys here. One thing I've got to work out is when the pulleys are going round like this, I've got to work out not only the good direction, but to get a maximum surface area on the belt. I don't want it just rubbing on the side. But I've got lots of pickup points and mountings that I can use. There's all sorts of, you know, fastenings on there. Could I use the GM one? Well, I couldn't, because it's, like I said, it's going to hit the steering box. Let's have a look inside. So there's our fiberglass cover for the transmission cover, and you can see, looking at that, that gear shift comes out lovely. Everything's worked out nice. I had a vision that I was going to have to cut this down, but actually the shifter mechanism's down here, so that's worked out nice too. No worries there. Now, the unusual thing I did about this, I used Disco 2 mountings, you can probably just see it here, that are welded onto the chassis. So I haven't got a cross member going underneath, and there's bags and bags of room. But I've got to get all that lot finished. There's my ratchet, we're looking for that. I've got to get all the exhausts sorted out first. But before you do the exhaust, you've got to put the prop shafts on, you've got to put the cross members in, You've got to get it all finished underneath before you do your exhaust, because if you make your pipes and then try to put your cross members in, or the prop shafts, well, you're going to have tears before bedtime. So let's have another look at something else. This is the ECU, the computer, to power this unit up. Obviously lots of sensors and bits and pieces like that. And it all comes self-contained, and there's a great big multi-plug going to a fuse box. But, as you can see in there, there's not a great deal of wires in there. So maybe over the weekend, if it's quiet, I'll start to dig into this and have a look at the wiring and see if I can get it to work off a Land Rover harness as well. So we only need sort of power, ignition, starter. That's not too bad, but it's pretty much self-contained. Yeah, I don't think that's a big deal. I'll probably have to send the computer away to get it flashed to take off some oxygen sensors at the back. I am keeping oxygen sensors in it because that will set the mixture correctly. You have to have them. It's not just for emissions. You've got to set the mixture on the throttle body. Cable, not a big deal. That goes through here onto your throttle pedal. In fact, looking at this here, I think that bugger might work. Here, look. Ooh, look at that. If I make an adapter onto there, I could probably get that to work. Ah, that's because it's got bent, look. That should be over there. That's with me lifting it up. But I think if I put a little ring round there, cut this cable back, because there's bags of it, and then put a pin through here, I can get that to work. Like I said in the other video, I actually broke the distributor cap because of that stupid chain. So there you go. Yeah, I've used, like I said, going back to the engine mountings, I used the GM mountings, but I wasn't too, you maybe can just see down here. I just tacked this up last night, but there was no room to work. But I maybe just shave this round a little bit because it's very close to the axle once there's some weight on it. Now, talking about weight, that's what it looks like. That's no jack on it. It's not too bad. Well, I think we can get away with that. But I've got to work out, I don't want the axle to hit the engine mount. That's always a problem with you doing cars, you've got to work things out. Like I say, this side, perfect. No problems at all. Oh, and you can see down there, I actually even managed to keep in the 300 TDI mounting, so that's good. I was hoping that I could actually make a bracket come off the 300 TDIs and join them across, but, well, it didn't seem to work that way. But like I say, I haven't really finished that mounting yet. I've just put two pieces on, and I need to box it up and weld it up properly. Another job to do. After that, it looks good. It looks very, very good. So, I'm going to do something different today. I'm not going to work on this today. I'm going to have a day off from it. But I tell you something, even looking at it now, I'm thinking, oh, that's not too bad. Oh, what are you going on about? It's just that manifold that was my cause for concern. See, the thing is, I mean, a clever man would cut and weld that. But the thing is, when you're welding exhaust manifolds when there's been a lot of carbon inside, it makes it kind of difficult to weld. But then again, nothing's impossible, is it? So, that's just a quick update. Like I say, if you want to see the full video, let me know, and I will put it together. But be warned, it is quite long, and there's a lot of forklift noise. So if you don't like clatter, 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 well, that's not the video for you. Anyway, that's just an update. Talk to you later. Bye.